Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be doing part two of my Nextruder and heatsink replacement. So we're going to be putting the extruder and heatsink back in and all together and then getting it running and printing again. So this is a little bit of a longer video. It was kind of a pain. It really shouldn't have been, but I was learning new things along the way and whatnot. So I'll be showing you what I learned in hopes that I can prevent these things from happening to you guys in the future. But all in all, it wasn't too bad. So first off, before we put anything back together, I didn't actually end up cleaning it. So I am cleaning all the parts and I'm going to wipe them down with isopropyl alcohol. And I'd highly recommend doing this. In fact, I would recommend spending a little while completely cleaning your gears and the inside and wiping everything down as best as you can because you don't know the next time you're going to be taking this apart, and the last thing you want to be doing is having to take it apart again soon because you didn't clean it as well as you should have. So I actually spent quite a while getting in between each of the grooves of the gear and trying to get all the junk, bits of filament and or grease that were caked in and whatnot. So I clean the gears, and I do that for all the metal parts and actually some of the plastic parts that they print for the printer, just degreasing and decleaning. So make sure you get that motor all cleaned up. I mean, you don't have to, but I like to make it look as shiny as possible before putting it all back because I don't know when I'm going to be touching it again. So you just wipe everything down. Just give it a good old scrub. The biggest concern is really any parts where gears uh, are touching and whatnot. So next, you're going to start disassembling the filament sensor and thermistor from your old heatsink, which is got the white silicone on it, and you can tell the new one has black. So I'm going to be just quickly taking those out. Each sensor only has one bolt. One of them's, they're both pretty small, I'm pretty sure, but they're so just don't lose them. But and they take a really small torque screw of some sort, pretty sure. So, but be very careful with the filament sensor. Um, the website says it's fragile on the instructions. So, and then you'll see me trying to find the right head for it. There we go. Yep, we're just gonna get this unscrewed and then put off to the side for now. Yeah, look how small that little bolt is. I think the other one for the thermistor is even smaller. But we're gonna put that to the side, that to the side too. It's not really the safest spot for me to put it, but then we're gonna get the thermistor out. And that takes like the same type that the heating block does. It's one of those like recessed ones without a head. And it is tiny, so do not lose it. But you'll get that unscrewed and then the thermistor pulls right out. And yes, both the sensors were working on mine. It was on the silicone for the white one, the old one. It had completely worn down and the bare wires were showing and looked like they had been kind of ripped out. A few of them had. So nothing wrong with the sensors though. So I was able to just pop them out of the old ones and put them in the new, which is good. Me not trying to lose the bolt. It's tiny. And that should be the only two things you're pulling out of your heatsink, so toss it to the side like that. And now we should be good on putting everything together and hopefully get her running. So we're going to grab the new heatsink, and as you can see, it's got black silicone now instead of the white. We're going to first start by putting the filament sensor back in. And once again, just be very careful. Prusa specifies do not over tighten. So I did finger tight. I usually actually did a little less loose or a little less tight than I normally do. I consider myself a little heavy-handed when tightening things. So, but yes, we're gonna put the filament sensor back in. You're gonna screw it finger tight. Don't over tighten it. You can crack the board and you'll have to buy a new one. So yeah, I just use the wire to kind of get it oriented in to drop the screw in, and then very gently screwed her in. Perfect. Then you're gonna get the thermistor in like so, and you're gonna take that really small bolt and put it in off to the side because it goes perpendicular with it, and screw her in. Basically the same process that you do with the heater and thermistor of the heating block. Okay, and then once you get it in, you can start putting everything together. So you're going to put the heat sink over the motor, and there's a very special way it goes. You want the cable of the motor to be pointing up, and the cables of the heat sinks to be pointing left and right while that cable is pointing up, like so. It has to go in this orientation. Prusa specifies it. So it just kind of sits there until you start getting all the rest of the pieces in. And then we're going to cut here. I've got the plastic piece on, which was in that back corner, and we're going to start getting the gears ready. That black plastic piece, I think it's like their carbon fiber filament for heat resistance. It just sits on top. So then there's a special part that you're going to get when you buy your kit that is this little thing that aligns the gears for the extruder. I actually didn't have it, and so I had to have my dad give it to me for his Core 1 build. So it took a couple days. So yep, you're going to put the gold piece through it, and then you've got to wiggle it there. And when you do it, there's a chamfer side and a non-chamfer side by the gears. And it specifies, I'm pretty sure, to put the chamfer size down. You'll be able to easily tell which side is which when you do. But so yep, you're gonna get it in like so, and it should just be able to rest on the gears. It takes me a little while fiddling with it. You're actually gonna see here. It's not super easy, but with some fiddling and kind of wiggling and shimmying it around, you can get it in, and then you can get it, on the motor and kind of put together the way it should be. So, yep, you do have to wiggle it in there, but it's not super hard. It just takes some finagling. And then you're going to end up putting it on the motor gear. Now, when you do, it also specifies do not just push it on. You actually turn it on. So you screw it on kind of, and like after 3 rotations, it should like fall in. Like after the first rotation, it slides in a little, and then you kind of keep doing it, and it slides in stages. until it's all the way in. So, but yes, you'll probably might struggle a little bit, maybe not. I'm trying to get this in and whatnot because the gold piece likes to fall down when you're screwing it in like so. So it's hard to like keep it all level. But I can't see right there it got on level. So you unscrew it and pull it out. It it's not really a screw. You're rotating it, and at certain points it like falls in. So you're not screwing it in like you would with a screwdriver. You're just physically screwing it in. It's more of you're twisting it until it keys in, and it'll fall in a couple times after twisting it around. So yeah, I really struggled with this part. There's a couple things I struggled with actually on this. Like I said, this wasn't super smooth for me. I bought this. I got this printer off of Facebook Marketplace. It was the MMU3, the kit, the enclosure kit, and the printer. The printer and MMU3 were built and working. The enclosure hadn't even been put together. So I'd never actually taken my extruder apart. And so this was kind of a learning experience because I didn't build it. So whenever I do this, I'm always a little worried about breaking shit. So yeah, after you get it all set like that, they told you to rotate the gears to make sure it spins. It's a little hard, but it should spin pretty smoothly. And then, yeah, you just double check it again, make sure it's all in line with the piece, and it's in. So just like that, we're getting there. Basically, you've got the heatsink in, the filament gears to actually move the filament on right now. So next, we're gonna put the actual pressure. There's an idler, the idler, filament idler, I think is what it's called. In, so you just goes through that hole on that gear, and then you screw it in, and then you grease it. I'm using sewing machine grease. Prusa has grease they sell that's specifically designed for the extruder gears. I looked it up. They said sewing machine grease was fine. My mom said sewing machine grease is special, so I figured it was perfect for this type of stuff. So you'll just dab it around and then move the gears around to make sure it's getting in all the teeth and whatnot. You want to make sure it's nice and lubed up, and then clean it off and whatnot. And then yes, you can put the cover on. So I am then gonna explain. So the next part is to put the top of that idler on, and it's feed. So like it doesn't tell you in the instructions, but you have to put that in all the way back here. So this is me disassembling it, the pieces, and then I'm putting that in. And you see it keys in right there. I could not get that in after. And in the instructions, it tells you to attach that after it's all put together. So I don't know if they need to update that or I did something wrong, but I put it in there. And like so, it just kind of slots in there, I guess. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. The printer's been printing fine ish. I haven't had major issues that would have caused, I don't think, um, since then. But so just when you're reading the instructions, that piece goes in then. Don't do what I did and put it all together like that. Just have to take it apart. I mean, it's not super hard. You're seeing me right now. It was a quick, just disassemble the front face and then put it back on and retighten everything. But re-cleaning it all because there was grease everywhere. So yep, double check. I did add some new grease just because I kind of wiped it and taken it all apart. So just like so, put the cover back on, and we can keep going. Next is the actual screws that push the idler into the filament so it can move. So you're going to slot them in and then just tighten them. On the Prusa thing, it tells you to be flush with the end of it. So when you're doing it, you'll just tighten it. Don't over too tighten it. Don't loosen it or have it too loose, right? Prusa says it's got to be a specific, but it shows you a picture of where it's supposed to be flush when you tighten them. So I'm going to clean everything off just because the next step is now to actually attach the extruder again. So get everything tightened up here, double checking, and then we're going to attach it. So you'll mount it. It literally just sits onto the little brackets there where my fingers are. You can't see it. I forgot to angle the camera because I didn't realize it wasn't a thing, which I will in a second, but for this section it's not. So it just sits on the little platform there, and then there's 2 or 3 bolts. I think 2 or 3. I think it's 3. And it screws it into the plastic that's on that gantry on those rods. So you'll see in a second. And then I take it down because I actually decide I want to put the fan on, I'm pretty sure. No, I don't think I put the fan on. I had taken it down for a specific reason. Oh yeah, it's because of that spacer. So there's a spacer that's on the Mark IV too, right there, that goes behind. I put it in the wrong spot. I'm pretty sure I had it in the wrong spot. So then I put it back. But yes, you're gonna tighten those 2 or 3 screws. I think it was 3 just now. And put the extruder into the thing, just like so. And then you're gonna plug in the wires. There's 3 right there. The one on the top, or the 2 on the right. And there might be one on the left, and then I'm gonna screw in the fan, the print fan for the heatsink. And then I'm gonna put the head in, the Nextruder nozzle, and plug those wires in, and like the black one goes on top. And then I am going to. Oh, I took the fan out to run the wire through the bracket. Yeah, just to make it a little cleaner. And then I decided not to do that, funnily enough, I think. But I did run some wires through the bracket in the end, I'm pretty sure. So then that's that. So I appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment. And if you have anything else or any other videos specifically of what you done or taken apart for your Prusa Mark IVs, let me know. I'd love to make a video about it. So thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Mr. Cowie out.